Hi guys, it's me, Dr. Winterbottom. Today is Thursday, April 30th, and technically this is our last day of so-called regular daytime classes. Today we're going to read the last chapter in Seedfolks, so we kind of skipped ahead a little bit, but I thought it would be good for us to read this last chapter. It's called Florence, and it starts on page 82. Okay. Page 82. My great-grandparents walked all the way from Louisiana to Colorado. That was in 1859. They were both freed slaves, and they wanted to get good and far from cotton-growing country. They went over the mountains just to be safe and homesteaded along the Gunnison River, which is how my grandfather and my father and my sisters and I all came to be born there. The first black family in the whole county. My father called them our Seedfolks because they were the first of our family there. I think of them when I see any of the people who started the garden on Gibb Street. They're Seedfolks too. I'm talking about that first year, before there were spigots and hoses and the tool shed and new soil, and before the landlord started charging more for apartments that look on the garden. I would have been in on that garden for sure if it weren't for this arthritis in my hands. Growing up out in the country, I still miss country things. My husband's from here. He doesn't know about the smell of a hayfield and eating beans off the vine instead of from the store. I had to settle for being a watcher. I wasn't the only one. I'd see others on the fire escapes or standing on the sidewalk like me. One day I looked up and saw a head in a window, moving forward and back. It was a man who'd pulled up his rocking chair. He was watching the gardeners, like TV. My grandmother's sampler from when she was a girl said, "Be not solitary, be not idle." A sampler is, it's like a cloth that somebody practices embroidering letters on. That was easy all those years in the library. I think that means she was a librarian. Being retired, it's harder. So I try to take a walk every day, which is how I found the garden to begin with. I'd always stop there to see what was new. I was just a watcher, but I was proud of the garden as if it were mine. Proud and protective. I remember how mad I got when I saw a man reach through someone's fence by the sidewalk and try to grab a tomato. I said, "How dare you?" He pulled his hand back and said he'd heard it was a community garden. It's sad, every fall, seeing it turn brown. Fewer and fewer people there. That very first year was the hardest. It had been such a wonderful change to see people making something for themselves instead of waiting for a welfare check, to see a part of the neighborhood looking better every day and to smell those good smells of growing plants. The green drained away, then the frost hit. You'd pass and hear those dry corn stalks shaking in the wind as if they were shivering. The pumpkins were about the only color left, and then the boy sold them all. Some people cut up their old plants with clippers and dug them back into the soil. A few covered their ground with leaves, but once that job was done, it was done. By November, the cats were the only ones there. That winter was a cold one, cold as Colorado. You'd walk by the garden, covered with snow, just the fence top sticking out, and you'd try to remember it back in July. Someone stuck a Christmas tree there in December. It stayed up until March. It's hard to tell one month from another that time of year. It's all just winter. Okay, I'm going to pause here and then I'll post a second segment of this presentation. Thank you.